All right. It's the 28th of November, and I am slicing my way through this. One thing I noticed, I was looking at the layback of this, and I noticed that my nose on this particular zombie wasn't great, but it's a nose. Many a joke has been made of the zombie nose. Because without a nose, how does the zombie smell? And the answer is always terrible. The zombie smelled terrible. We could keep drawing on our zombie all day long. But let's get to this middle panel. I promised a middle panel, and that's what's going to happen. Well, first we're going to do this zombie in the corner. How's life, everyone? Right now, in my civilian day-to-day job, I'm teaching every day right now. And this situation will continue all the way up into just about Christmas. Just about. And I don't teach. Sometimes I do other things. So I don't teach every day. Sometimes I'm developing materials or doing other things. So it always kind of takes a lot out of me whenever I do it. And now I've got several classes in a row. Several classes in a row. But you know what I say? The kids are all right. All right. I think I want to put a hand here. It's one of those things where I penciled it a guide, but I didn't actually do anything. I wonder, how should it look? Like, this is my hand. Maybe I need to do the thumb. I think that's probably enough. Just have to make sure you get the angle of the forearm correct. I think that's probably right or close. A lot of times, and this is my own laziness where I've like kind of left a sort of indication that there should be a drawing there in the pencils, and then I don't do it, and I go, oh, I'll just take care of this when we get to the ink. And then that means, all right, it's time to draw. now it's you have to pay the piper. All right. All right. I think a hand like this needs a thumbnail. Moving it back. This arm is far too long, but I'm trying to show some action here. Nevertheless, I'm probably going to have to shorten that arm, which is good because his hand will be less close to that other hand. I've got to do something with a sound effect here. It's got to be loud enough and obvious enough that we've killed this guy over here. Without actually showing it. I'd like to mention shout out to Tyler of the girl with the mega fists. I follow him here on the YouTubes. He has a some market data from France. We are from France. Which is about which genres are selling as far as comics goes. Now, obviously, the comics in France are going to be different than the ones in the U.S. and the genres will be different. But I don't think they'll be different by that much. Like what would you think would be big? Well, the biggest genres are comedy adventure. And that seems to make the most sense to me. They also have it split up into two different age demographics, one of which is 7 to 15, and the other one is 15 to, adult. And then you have different audiences for different genres. So, for example, espionage is in the lowest group, in the youngest demographic. But in the adult group, it's not in the lowest. It's like 25% or something. It's doing all right, all things considered. I think all that's interesting. I'd love to see what it is in the US, but you can't in the US because all the data's been skewed. We have a comics industry that likes to fake things so that people can keep their phony baloney jobs, to quote Mel Brooks. And there's a sort of an unwillingness to acknowledge the realities of what's going on with genre. So you'll see people say Western comics are dying, and then someone will post a screenshot of manga sales and Scholastic sales and say, no, comics are doing great. And when somebody says Western comics are dying, they're not talking about manga sales or Scholastic sales. They're specifically noting, the weekly books. And I've heard some people say, oh, that's because everything's being replaced by graphic novels. I think that's also objectively not true. I don't think it is being replaced by graphic novels. And what does that even mean in this context? When you've got some of these graphic novels. I was looking at one. I went to Ollie's and got a bunch of sort of things that I'd missed out on. The comics that had come out in recent years. There's most titles have zero appeal to me. But I used to be really into JSA, Justice Society, and I managed to get like a compilation of JSA that dates back to like stuff that was happening, before I was in the Army, which was, over 20 years ago. And even some issues I kind of remember from being in Monterey, um, at the Defense Language Institute. And it's really important that this be really tight, this part of the rope. Well, anyways, two things I noticed is, first of all, I noticed there's a good reason why I stopped reading that title. It got bad. It was bad. There was a lot of what I didn't understand was tracing at the time, and I will name names. So, what's the dude's name? It's Steven. Um, oh man, I'll have to look him up. It's pretty bad. But totally a bunch of tracing, like especially faces, things like that. I want to say it's Sadowski. And, it's just super disappointing. I didn't realize that's what was going on. I just realized, wow, this art is looking really photographic. This is 1999 ish. I don't know. Yeah, it's Steven Sadowski. Um, all the dynamism was out of the comic. All the things that I complain about, and it's all there. And you realize, oh, even before I had the vocab, before I even knew what was going on, the rot had set in. And it's not like I'm talking about stuff that's in recent years. We can all agree that, oh, recent years comics are terrible. We're talking 1999. That's 22 years ago. 23 years ago. So a lot of times people are like, oh, I remember like when comics were old, like in the 90s, quote unquote. I'm like, they were already bad. There was already a problem. I was looking at somebody else on Twitter talking about how objectively great Western comics were. And they use a lot of the comic artists who I have to admit are good. Like, for example, Marc Silvestri is good. Can't stand any of his comics. The Darkness, Witchblade, or whatever it is. you know, the covers look amazing, and then you actually read the comic, and you're like, what? What? They're in the mafia, kinda, and somehow as I don't understand the magic. It's like nothing goes on in these effing comics. It's like I don't know. It's not that impressive. They're missing some kind of sensibility. That Liefeld had it. Liefeld could do it. People say all kinds of shit about Liefeld, but um, he understood adventure. Like he understood the entire point of this comic is that things are going to happen in it. Like there's going to be action. That's that's what you came to see. That's what you're paying for. Like he understood that. That was the exact opposite of the line weight that I was trying to get. Okay, that's better. There we go. So I'm trying to make it so it starts thin and it gets thicker. And I think I even went a little too far on this one. Okay. Why is it thin and getting thicker? It's because it's getting closer to the viewer. That's why. Is this too thick? The answer is maybe. Is that head very warped looking? Yes. Yes, it is. All right. think it's the eyes are too big. The nose, something's very off about the nose too. Just all around. Face is a problem. All right. Kind of like I was still in zombie mode, trying to draw that zombie. That's a little bit better. Anyway, Steve Sadowski. That's his name. What's going on with my mouse? My mouse. Here, Gallows looks a little bit like the Phantom. I think I've just gone a little bit too far in his mouth here. Frank Miller used to draw these really distorted, kind of chubby badass Batman. You remember that era? Well, anyway. There's the shirt collar. There we go. Okay, now he's not wearing a skin-tight outfit, so that's our next problem. We've drawn it as if he's wearing a skin-tight kind of bodysuit looking thing. He's got a shirt on, but it's shredded. And not only that, it's a cowboy shirt, so that looks about right. This back arm. There we go, much better. I think at the end he's going to have to tear his sleeves off just to keep them from hindering him. And that puts him closer to his original costume. All right, he's got a bloodstained. I should Google how long you can live with a chest wound. You know, because he's gotten a terrible chest wound. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I've had a couple ideas. I haven't made the final decision on good old Gallows here. I wonder if I should just make it just get progressively worse. You know, like the blood is everywhere at the end of it. All right. As long as we can get to the end. All right. That's actually looking pretty good. Let's have some shreds of the shirt. And then, just so the point is not lost, these are jeans. And we're going to put a belt. And then we're going to put his gun belt. Whoops. Which goes over the jeans. I was actually looking back today, and then somebody was doing like a retrospective of Justice League Unlimited. His quote unquote favorite episode from Justice League Unlimited, and it was the one with the Seven Soldiers of Victory. I think it's called Patriot Act. Is the name of the episode where the government has formed this whole unit to secretly, go up against the superheroes if it needs to. Um, and I think one of the Project Cadmus generals even drinks the Captain Nazi serum, like to become this mutated monster, and he's just like destroying everything. And so they call in the reinforcements, and they, the whole point of this thing is they're supposed to be like, oh, we're going to use all these this serum to defeat the powered superheroes. But the ones they end up calling up are the Seven Soldiers of Victory, who none of them have powers, although um, that's merely the um, modern day version of it, because the original version of it, because the modern day version actually they did have some powers. Like Shining Knight has magic armor and a magic sword, and um, they didn't have the Star Spangled Kid, but they have Star, which is Courtney. What's her name? And Stripe, Star and Stripe used to be the Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy, the All Star Squadron, or Squadron with Power Girl. Um, and so now Stripe is no longer just a guy with a red and white striped shirt. He's actually has a robot. And then um, Star has Starman's staff, which is an actual, pretty powerful artifact. There's the collar turn. There we go. But my absolute favorite is, of course, Vigilante, who has a motorcycle. That's it. He's got a motorcycle and some six guns. That's all he's got. Drawn by the great Mort Meskin, a contemporary of Jack Kirby's that had a much shorter career. Quite like Mort Meskin. I love his art style. If you get a chance, look up Mort Meskin and check out some of his art. He was something else. Had a very, very distinct style, and of course, he was like out of there by the 70s or something, maybe even earlier. All right, so we got this guy in the jeans. Let's do the rest of the rope since it's not being held tightly. Can be held, can be, well, I don't know if I want it looping that way up into the speech balloon. All right. It should be shut up, snap. We should see that sound effect. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Getting there. We want to. There we go. We got to make this like a nasty sounding snap. Like I'm trying to. How would I do the lettering on it? Something like that. No, something. It's like that, but it's opposite. Okay. Looking for some more consistent line weights on the. Gosh. Oh. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I've still got to get a zombie in the background here, but I think we're at the beginnings of something. Let's fake in the speech bubble. I was also looking at Dries Cattels. If you, does anyone follow Dries Cattels on YouTube? Now he's like a fine artist, but he sells art on whoops, be on the right layer. He sells art on Instagram, and I think part of his shtick is I'll teach you how to sell art on Instagram, but he's really talking about fine art and stuff like that, and what kind of art sells. I'm looking at this kind of. There's all kinds of videos that are like this that are like, and here's how you can be making money on YouTube or with your art. Such a mania for making a living with your art, which seems fine uh, to me. But I don't know. Nobody addresses the reality of, well, you have to be good also. You have to. What's your skill level? You know, I assume most of us are at a fairly low to middling, and I include myself there in the amateur realm. This Tyler thread that I was looking at today said something kind of interesting. It's a bunch of some reasons why you're not making money selling your art, selling your comics or whatever. And his reason number one is your skill's not there. I'm like, exactly. So why do you think I'm drawing every day? I do think I'm telling coherent stories, and they are good. So I'm feeling like I'm getting very close to where things could happen. But I don't know. We'll see. This is not a style question. Obviously, there's different things you can do with different styles, and you know, the guy who draws the oatmeal is making $1,006,000 every month or something, or used to be, to draw really ugly art that is admittedly funny. And the top selling, or the previous top selling comic book of all time, crowdfunded, is Order the Stick. Most of the guys who talk about Order the Stick have never actually seen it. They're like, it's some kind of stick figure comic. It's a D&D comic. It was a web comic, and it was hilarious. The reason it sold so well is because it was one of the funniest and most astute um, D&D comics of its time. Perfectly um, kind of timed to fit right on top of the D&D third edition craze as it came out. And I can certainly remember, first of all, waiting for the new episodes to get posted to Giant ITP. But also to be sharing them and talking about them at the D&D game. I mean, it was perfect. It had a built-in fan base. What more could you ask for? So that's something that they had that most of us don't. Even the people that are, you know, quote unquote semi pro out there in the comics world, they don't have a fan base that's built in, you know. Even the people I like, they even got it. And if you're a nobody, you really ain't got it. Because you don't have somebody that's just following your name. There's my zombie. What do you think? I've got to do the loincloth still. This I'm just faking in, whereas torso in, so I can start the legs. Because the ones I have are not right. All right, let's see what it looks like without the pencil. Boom. Okay. Yeah, we're starting to. I'm going to do action lines. This is a bit of an embarrassing line there. Snap. Snap. Killed that guy. All right. So the question at this point with Gallows is how long is he able to fight on before he collapses for this terrible wound that he's got? And that won't be answered on this page. What's the last panel? I'm not giving up. He's going to knock that guy out right there, too. There we go. All right. Getting closer to it. So, at this rate, should be done with this page by Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Getting on a page, what is it, 15? Is this page 14? I think this is page 14. I'll have to look. Hang on. What is this? Page 14. So it's very likely that I'm going to go over 16 pages, especially if I get in all the stuff I want to do. I'm trying to work out a way that Rabbit Fighter finds his old sword, or finds a sword that seems close enough to the old one. Maybe I even leave that part up in the air. You know, unsaid. Wait, this whole time I was on the wrong pen? What are you talking about? What's the matter, you? Okay, let's fix that. Dare to be stupid. Dare to be stupid. Wait. Maybe I've made him a bit too muscular for being a zombie. Maybe I should make him a little bit more gnarly. What do you think? to think about it. Is there anything else that I'm missing in this? Nothing really. You can see I put in a line here and a line here to create a diagonal. But I'm not sure what those represent yet. Either it's like I'm thinking it's going to be something like a Tezuka, just a line, some background lines or something. I was really appreciating the way he was doing stuff. There was even a page that I looked at and I'm like, I'm gonna have to like write this down because this is close to what I want to get. All right. Now, we really do have to fake something in back here. This was my idea, is just to, where's the pencil? I'll have to do it here. And then here. And then we just sort of, yeah, something like that. It isn't something that's truly representative, it's just trying to show, it's like trying to frame the action. It's kind of doing something similar to our focus lines. We're not meant to understand the focus lines as being actually right there on the panel with us. They frame the action. Ditko was really good at doing this stuff. I need to go through and like look at a bunch of different versions of it, but you can see it's almost like a polygon behind them, some kind of quadrilateral. All right, I will continue to work on this. I mean, there's obviously a lot of hatching I could do, but please like, follow, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Rabbit Fighter. I almost said Robot Fighter, his namesake, who I named him after. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. There will be more. We will continue on. And if this comic isn't perfect, maybe the next one will be closer, a little closer. Gonna keep striving forward. Gonna keep building towards something. Talk to you later. Paul Stewart. Calling Stewart Wolf Mobile.